In this video, we're going to learn how to use PHP filters to clean user inputs and also validate any user inputs. So let's start with cleaning user inputs. We're going to have a look at 3 examples. One example with a username, another one with an email input, and then a URL example. So let's say we have an HTML form where the user is required to input their username. So we're expecting them to write some simple text, okay? And then we are storing that in a variable that we're going to call my username. So if their input is something similar to this, then if we echo that on our screen, then that's completely fine, and we're going to get something like this. But if we are dealing with a hacker, they are willing to inject some JavaScript code inside the username field rather than putting some simple text. So as an example, we can expect something like this. So you're going to have some JavaScript code, okay, and for instance, we can have an alert message saying hi. All right. We can even have some simple JavaScript code which will redirect us to another page asking for our credit card details or any sensitive information. Okay, so to avoid this, we can't just store the user input in a variable just like that. Okay, so we have to do another step. So we're going to need to filter the user input using some PHP functions. Okay, so we're going to replace the variable my username, okay, with a new value, which is going to be the cleaned version of the inputs. And for this purpose, we're going to use a function that is called filter_var, okay. And this function is going to take a couple of parameters. So the first parameter is the value that we want to clean, which is my username, okay. And the second parameter, in our case, since we are dealing with a string, is going to be filter_sanitize_string, okay. So now, if we echo the new variable value, we see something like this. So we got rid of all the HTML tags, okay. So that's how we can clean a string or text input. All right. So now let's have a look at another example. Let's see how we can clean an email input. So we're going to define a variable my email where we're going to be storing the inputs, the email inputs of our user. So for example, let's write something like this, an email with some space inside the email. Okay, we've got some backslashes and also another space, and then the end of our email. Okay, so if we echo this on the screen, this is what we're going to get. Okay, let's have a line break at the beginning. So if you refresh, we're going to get something like this. Okay, but if we want to clean the email and take out any space backslashes and all that, then we're going to need to use a PHP filter function. So it's going to be similar to this one. Okay, let's just change, replace my username with my email. Okay, the only thing that's going to change is, rather than using the parameter or the argument filter sanitize string, we're going to filter sanitize email. Okay, and now if we save and refresh, we can see that the new value is free of any space or backslashes. Okay, so now we have cleaned the email input of our user. Okay, so let's move to the URL example. So let's define a variable my URL. Okay, and give it a value. For example, we're going to go for http:// and let's have some special stuff in there. Let's have a pound sign, then www.google.com. Okay, so if we echo this just like that, let's have a line break, and then the variable. Okay, let's have a line break there. If we do this, then we're gonna get this URL, which is not right. So again, we're going to use the same function to filter or clean this URL. Okay. So before we echo the variable, let's do this step. Okay, and this time, rather than filter sanitize email, we're going to do filter sanitize URL. Okay, so if we refresh the page, we can see that now we've got a proper URL format. Okay, so that's how we can clean user inputs.